All right, that worked out pretty well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that was great.
I can even do, I'm pretty sure there's like a 15-second countdown, but 30 seconds is fine.
Yeah, no, it goes by quickly.
I used to do, the few times I've streamed by myself, I do a 10-minute countdown so I can like change the thumbnail, make the post. But then I'll finish everything in like a minute and I'm just sitting there for 9 minutes, kind of like waiting around for.
Yeah, for somebody to show.
But I like, yeah, I like there being a countdown. And then if people rewatch the video, they can just skip past the 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna create this post and then I have something interesting to discuss that you might like.
Yeah, finish the post. Finish your post, and then I'm gonna post once you start telling the story.
Okay. I'm trying to find, here it is, the link.
I don't think I have any interesting shit that happened this week. Actually, I have a couple things that I did, but they're not interesting.
I always love the stories you tell on Instagram about your work. It's so funny.
I do have a work.
It's
I do
just
have
like this like saga that like keeps going.
I have a work related one.
I love it.
I did. I got up to some shit yesterday that had to do with my work. That it'll take a while to happen, but I might be moving in on my boss a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I love the relationship you discuss with your boss. It just sounds
Miserable.
like a movie. It really does.
It literally sounds like a job that like Seth Rogen would have in a stoner movie.
Yeah. No, it's great. Okay, let's see if this went through. That one worked.
I need to get some longer cords for this new mic.
Okay, and then let me tell what's his name? Okay, so do you know the Citizen app? Do you have it or do you know of it?
What's the Citizen app?
So Citizen is like, it's this app where they basically tell you all of the crimes that are going on around you as they're happening. So you get alerts on your phone.
So yours is just constantly blowing up, I'm sure.
Yeah, because like LA is just like chaos. And it's like, if like the bigger, like if it's a really big crime and it's like far away, they'll still alert you because you're still in the city. But it's like sometimes it's like weird. Like I remember years ago there was one in LA where it was like aggressive mime or something like that. Like they get weird. And then it's like I don't really know how it works, but I think it's run by what is it called when people listen in on like police calls?
What do you mean? What's it called?
You know, like they have those like machines where they can like listen in and like,
oh yeah, the radios, the scanners.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like you click the post and then you hear like the scanner and what the cop is saying, and then like it'll give you the address and then people can comment. So like last night shit was just going down here. I got like no sleep. And some weird shit went down to the point that it was on the news this morning. So in my neighborhood, I got this message that like it was like homicide investigation, baby dead found in trash can. And I'm like, oh my God, because it's like right down the street from me. And so then of course I'm like, what the fuck? And then this morning, it turned into this whole news thing where I don't know what happened, but some woman took this other woman to the hospital who was like in her early 20s. And she was like bleeding profusely. And so, because of that, the hospital felt like they needed to do, what is it called? Like when they come into your home to like check on you.
A wellness
Yeah,
check.
a wellness check. So they did a wellness check for this girl who had come in bleeding, and they didn't describe like what was really going on. It was very vague. But then they said that like They came over, they did an investigation, and then they found like a dead baby in the trash bin outside. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then they said like it had been dead for like a day or two already. So I'm like, what's the story there? Like, I was kind of confused. I was like, did she like just give birth and like it died, so she threw it away? Or like she just, I don't know, killed it? I have no idea. They didn't say much, but I just was thinking, wow, like we're at this place where in society where people just really they don't care at all. Like back in our day, it's like you try to hide your crimes. And so it's like this woman was like, I'm just gonna throw them in the trash bin.
So they didn't
Like,
say
what?
what the story was?
They just said that a woman had brought another woman in. I don't know if they were related, but they were living at this house down the street. The younger woman in her 20s was bleeding all over, and so she was at the hospital. And so I'm assuming from whatever wounds she had, it must have been bad to cause the doctors to reach out and say, we got to do a wellness check on this person. And then during the check, they had found the baby in the trash bin outside. That was the story. It just happened this morning. So
there's been plenty of, I mean, girls do weird shit, and like people don't like girls kill their kids. Like, I mean, obviously I'm pretty sure it's like somewhat rare, but like more women kill their kids than men kill their kids. When women go to prison, child killer women are not preyed upon. Like in a men's prison, if you kill a kid, they'll fucking kill you. Women, when they go to prison for killing a kid, it's not really, from what I know, the other women are just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. That's just Betty. She killed her son. Like, it's not a big deal.
So wild.
There was a story I heard about, this was a while ago. I would need to look it up again, but some young girl, she was like a young woman. She was pregnant, and like I think she was with her mom. Her and her mom went to the doctors to have like an ultrasound or something about the baby. And at one point they both went into the bathroom and then came out and left. And the doctors went into the bathroom, and she delivered her baby, put it in the trash can, and like left. Like something bizarre like
what?
That. Yeah. There's always stories about some woman putting a baby in a trash. Like that shit happens. It's very strange.
Yeah, because that's what I was confused about. I was like, was she bleeding because she just gave birth and then maybe the baby died, so she just threw it away? Or she didn't want the child because they said it had been there for a day or two? Or she really didn't want the child and then killed him or her? But I was just like, how bizarre. But they did say that they had spoken with the woman. She's at the hospital and she's being very compliant about it. So I don't know.
I think women, I mean, first of all, it takes a crazy person to put a baby in a trash can, or at the very least, like a super self-centered, entitled person. But I think it's more common with women than men, because I would imagine women feel a sense of ownership. Like when you grew this motherfucker inside you for 9 months and you push the shit out, like you feel, that would be my excuse. Like I am never going to push a baby out of me. So, I mean, I would never put my own fucking kid in a trash can anyways, but you know what I mean? Like, that's why I kind of think maybe women are like, oh, well, I have more of a right to do this than, because if a man did it, it would be game over. I mean, and it's game over for the women too. I'm going back and forth, but all I know is anytime you hear stories about babies in trash cans, it's always a woman that puts the fucking baby in a trash can.
But it's like, I want to know, I mean, I guess there's no logic behind it, because how do you think you're not going to get caught? Because like back in the day, I feel like people at least tried to like hide their crimes by like, okay, we're going to at least bury the person. Now it's like, just go chuck it in the trash, whatever. It's like people look for trash.
No, they're probably that. They probably honestly don't think so. They're probably thinking that the garbage guy is going to come pick it up. It's going to get smashed in the truck. It's going to, like, putting shit in the dumpster is actually a decent way to. I just listened to a story today about back in like the 90s, some guy in Phoenix, I think it was Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
He killed and like cut up 2 women and they found one of the woman's arms in a dumpster, and like they found her head somewhere later. But yeah, then there's that story of the guy who got caught like red-handed on the news when he like killed his neighbor. He was in college and he put her in the dumpster right before and the garbage man was coming to pick up the dumpster. He was about to get away with it, but because the police showed up, they blocked the garbage man and then found the body in the dumpster. Like it was literally like seconds. And the guy just so happened to be live on the news
Yeah.
crying about his neighbor dying when they were like, "Oh, they found her body." And like you can see him panic like, "Oh shit." But yeah, no, putting shit in the dumpster is it's because one, the only people that really go through dumpsters are homeless people, and a
Yeah.
homeless guy that's just looking for his next meal is not going to give a fuck if there's a baby. Not all of them, but let's be honest, some of them will not give a fuck if they see a baby in the dumpster. I mean, they might they might fucking try to smoke it, like depending on where in LA you are. But yeah, it's not the worst way to get rid of shit because once the garbage man comes, generally, the garbage man's underpaid. He doesn't give a fuck what it sounds like or smells like, or he's just doing his job. And
Yeah.
you'd have to get a pretty careful garbage man to be like, "Hey, I think I hear something weird in the trash behind the truck." Like, I'm pretty sure most of them are just trying to get home.
But I mean, okay, so I think it was last October. I don't know if I told you this story. There was another big news story also in my area where this guy, he chopped up his wife, and then his mother and father-in-law are still missing. And it was a situation where it's like some white guy, I think he's like a little older than us, but his dad is some big time producer, so he had a lot of money. He married, I want to say they were Chinese, I don't know. He married an Asian woman, and it was him and his wife, and then the in-laws, and then their two kids living at this big house together. Last October, I guess what happened is some homeless guy was looking through one of those industrial trash bins at a business nearby, and he found a torso in a bag, and then they somehow linked it to this guy, and it was this whole story because I guess the day that he did it, I guess he like chopped his wife up for whatever reason and put all of her body parts in bags. And he saw outside like his neighbors had his gardeners there. And so he asked them like, "Oh, can you, like, if I pay you like $500, can you just take these bags? They're like full of rocks, and then just go toss them somewhere." So they were like, "Okay, for sure." So then they take the bags, and then they were like, "Oh, these are kind of squishy." So they look into the bags and they see it's like human remains, and then they freak out. They go back to the guy and they're like, "We're not going to do this. This is weird." And then he tried to play it off like, "No, no, no, it's just Halloween decor. It's okay." And so they freaked out. They went to the police. And then, of course, LAPD were like, "Well, you don't really speak English, so we're not really going to help you. You're full of it." And so then, like, the next day, the torso was found. And so then the Mexican guys were like, "See, we told you." And then it turned into this whole thing. Also, the in-laws happened to be that they disappeared too. They still can't find them to this day. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of people just throwing out bodies. It's crazy.
I wonder why the people would they found the torso in the bag and then took it back to the guy. Like, I'd go to the cops first before I take it back to the guy.
No, no, no. So what happened? Okay, so there was the homeless guy that had found the torso because he put like each body part in different bags. And so the homeless guy immediately went to like the police. But the day before that, when the gardeners had gotten the bags, yeah, they were like, "We don't want to deal with this." And then they gave it back to the guy.
There was a time, I honestly just imagining in the town that it's like a small farm town. It was probably like a pig or a goat or some weird shit. I mean, it had to have been like a fucking pig. This shit was way too heavy. When I used to work at a gas station, I think I've talked about him before. This older guy that I used to come in and like talk to me for hours, and he was just like some very nice, eccentric old guy. His name is Bob, and sometimes he would go outside and start taking out the trash. Like he was just one of those like old, helpful Christian guys that would come. He gave me a Bible one time, and really nice guy. And so one time he was taking out like two of the outside trashes while I was taking out two of the other. And at one point he lifted up one of the trash bags to take it out. And underneath the trash bag was a whole nother trash bag with something clearly in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's the worst thing. Well, no, he kind of like made a noise or movement that like signified that something smells or signaled that something smells bad. So I came over, and it was the worst smelling thing I've ever smelled. I cannot even explain it. It was terrible. And it was so heavy that like he and I were struggling to lift it together. So we both pull it out of there. And I was like, what's that? And all I remember about him, like what he said about it, was that he's like, I've been to fucking war, and like, I don't even want to guess what the smell is. We're just going to throw this in the dumpster and go back inside. So we threw in the dumpster and went back inside.
Where was this?
At a gas station in this small, like rural town that I used to live in.
What the fuck?
But like I said, small rural town. It was honestly probably like a fucking pig that somebody like illegally killed or caught or something. Like I doubt it was a fucking human, because that shit would have been. Well, I don't want to say that shit would have been found, but no, I would damn near bet money it was like some kind of farm animal from the back roads that some kids like fucking killed or something. But
you never know.
It definitely smelled like what I imagined death smelled like. And then Bob, like not wanting to see what it was, I was like, okay, so it's got to be something dead, because he'd be the first guy to be like, oh yeah, let's check this shit out.
That's gnarly. I don't know. I mean, it could have been somebody.
I feel the town was also so small that if somebody disappeared in that town, like if somebody died, it would have been, the population's like 17,000.
Okay.
Unless someone brought it from out of town, like I mean that too.
Maybe
it'd be a good. It was a gas station I worked at that was right by the freeway on ramp, so people that were up to bullshit would do that. Like one time I got robbed for some cigarettes in there, which was actually hilarious. But yeah, they do that shit because they could just get right on the freeway. And then people used to come in and try to run scams and shit. I had to work overnight, so it was terrible. People are always trying to run scams. And when you tell somebody no, like they get mad at you, which I always hate. Like my thing is, if you're going to go fuck with a minimum wage employee, like they were always doing weird card scams, like trying to buy a million scratchers and then like pay with a card that didn't work. And I'm like, okay, look, like from the very get-go, I knew what was up, but like I still let you try it. I scanned all the shit. I let you put your card in. Now your card's not working. That's not my fault. I let you play the game. You lost. Like take the loss. Get the fuck out of here. It's not my fault. Like, if I was a good employee, I would have told you to get the fuck out of here the second you walked in here, because I can already see it on your shitty face that you're a dirtbag. Like, I'm not stupid. But these people will get mad at you when their scams don't work. And I'm like, get a better card. Like, it's not my fault you fucked up your own scam.
Oh, man. So, whatever happened with your story from last week about that girl? What's the update?
I haven't talked to her.
You haven't? Has she tried to talk to you?
No. I mean, if I hit her up right now, she'd respond. But it's...
You just left it at that when she was on the phone with her boyfriend.
I mean, we'll end up talking again. It's gonna end up being one of those things that 3 months, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, whatever. Like so the last time we hooked up, it was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So it's definitely one of those things that like if I'm ever really bored enough, or like I know it sounds terrible, but it's a trustworthy call that I can always make, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. She sounds quite interesting.
Oh, she's fucking retarded.
So let's see. What do you think of reality TV? I'm assuming you hate it.
It was almost on. Well, I auditioned for The Real World. I think I told you about
that. Yeah. I do remember.
So I do hate it, but me on The Real World would have been great. This was like 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
I just posted about it because the Facebook memories, the anniversary of one of my posts. came up. I did not get on, obviously, but reality TV is honestly dead. It's TikTok now. It's like kids, like my little sister who's like 14. She watches videos of like teenage girls going to Target.
Okay.
Like I'm serious. Like I'll be watching whatever she's watching. I'll like whenever my mom comes over and brings her over, I'll like walk up to the couch and like look over her shoulder and like, oh, you're watching a video of like two girls like going to Target, which is kind of like what reality TV, you know, you're essentially, I mean, I know now it's all scripted, but the main idea of it is that you're just watching people exist.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's all just like,
Well, my guilty pleasure, if you've heard of the show, is Love Island.
I used to,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm obsessed. Like obsessed. Like I've seen all of the UK ones, all of the Australia and US. I just finished watching the UK and US one. But I don't know what it is. I don't normally care for reality TV, but Love Island, it's just like I love watching all these young hot people like in a bubble trying to like navigate, because I've done a lot of research on like how they actually produce the show, and the reason it's so successful is because they really give them like a lot of leeway. Like they literally just like put a bunch of hot people in a villa and they're like, just do something, and then chaos ensues out of that. But yeah, I mean, I always try to like imagine like what it would be like to be on reality TV when I watch these things.
Well, that's how the
It's
real
fun.
world was when it first came out. It was just, they put people up in a fucking like place and we're like, yeah, you guys live together. And now, you know, they've introduced like fucking rules and challenges, and that's when it gets
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. I just started watching one. I don't really care for it, but it sometimes is just on in the background. It's called The Mole.
Uh-huh.
Heard of that one? It's like a game show where basically they get like 10 people, and then one of them is secretly the mole, which is the person that's like working against everybody else, and the aim of it is like to get as much money into the pot as possible, and then somebody wins through doing like challenges, and then they're always trying to figure out which one of them in the group is the person that's trying to work against them to kick them off. It's mildly entertaining, but that's what I've been watching. Otherwise, I really like the dating ones. Like I love
The dating ones are the best.
what is it? Love is Blind. You know that one?
I've never watched it.
Oh my God, it's nuts. Like, have you heard of it though?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like they get a bunch of people and then they basically date like through a wall, just through like, you know, connection in your voice. And then if they like really like each other after a certain amount of time, the man will propose to the woman. And then if she accepts, then they can see each other. And then they go through like a process of kind of like what it would be like to be married. And then at the altar, they decide if they really want to do it or not. It's so good. Because like some of these people, when they're in these like cubicles, they're like, you could tell they're really vibing. And then the second they see each other face to face, they're just like, they're so disappointed.
Yeah, I'd be devastated.
Because it's like some of these guys, you hear their voice and it's like deep and seductive, and so you can see these women like trying to imagine like what's on the other side, and then it's like some nerdy guy shows up. He just happens to have like a really deep voice.
Yeah, I'd be devastated if I fell in love with a girl's voice. And I am the kind of person that I would totally. You ever watch Criminal Minds?
A long time ago, but yeah, I know of it.
Do you remember the episodes where Reed fell in love with the girl over the phone?
No.
Yeah, that's
I could see you doing that.
Yeah, that's I would 100% fall in love with a girl over her voice and personality. But I am shallow, and then I would be devastated if I saw her and she was fat or something.
Well, that's what happened on the latest season. I don't know if you ever saw the memes, but it was like there was a couple and they're really not supposed to say anything about their appearance while they're talking. But the girl happened to just spill out that she looked like Megan Fox when she didn't. She was, did you see that? It was like, she was like,
no, but that sounds like some shit a girl would say when she's not looking like Megan Fox.
yeah, she had some weight on her, you know, she was like pretty in her own way, but like when she said, "Oh, people say I look like Megan Fox," it panned to the guy's room and he's like lighting up like, "Oh my God, like my wife could be like Megan Fox." And then you see the moment when they both come out and meet each other and he's just like, it's like he wants to be happy. So he's smiling, but you can see in his eyes, he's like, what is this? You know? And then they don't always like kiss right away because they're like totally disappointed.
I would imagine.
But yeah, it's a good show.
Doing a dating one would be cool. Okay, I'll run through it really quick. So when the real world shit, I was sitting in my room with my girlfriend at the time. I can't remember where or how I even learned that real world applications are online. Like you can go to the website and apply.
Yeah.
I was just fucking around. So yeah, I like filled out the questionnaire. And then like in a couple weeks I got an email and they're like, "Oh yeah, we like your shit." Like they send you like another round of questions and they ask for some pictures of you. I'm like, okay, yeah, fuck it. So I fill out the questions, send pictures. Probably like a couple months later, they're like, "Oh yeah, we like your shit. Here's like more questions," and then send more pictures. I'm like, "Oh, okay, shit, this might be going somewhere." So now I'm actually starting to think because now I'm on like the fucking second round of them hitting me up. So I sent it in, and then like months later, they email me again, and they're like, "Yeah, we're coming to San Francisco to do like auditions. Show up. Here's questions. Something like here's questions. Print them out. Bring them with you. Bring in more pictures of yourself on paper." And then so yeah, so I went. My girlfriend kind of invited herself along, and I basically brought her in with me. The audition or the interview / audition thing was stupid. So it was literally just at a club in San Francisco, and the way it worked was that they had they had all the people that they'd been talking to through email or corresponding with already. But then they also allowed walk-ins like to come in and I guess do like last minute interviews after all of the email people.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I could have just fucking walked in. Like it was.
Yeah.
I've been talking to you guys for fucking months, sending you like all these pictures of myself that I didn't even have until you asked me for them. Obviously, the people that have been talking to them got higher priority, but I still just thought it was stupid. But you know, it was literally like going to a frat party. Like it was like girls I went to high school with were the MTV people, and they asked, you know, it's the most shallow, like, "Oh, what do you want to do for a living?" Like, I'm like, "What? Are you serious? Like, I don't want to work. That's why I'm trying to be on MTV. Like, what are you talking about?" But it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. I thought it would have been fun.
Well, I know on Love Island, I actually looked at the page to fill out to apply. And it was like, how many Instagram followers do you have? They want like a minimum of like 5,000. It's like, what's your weight? You know, like it's very shallow.
I could get on there with my Instagram, this Instagram.
Yeah, no, you.
That's
It's.
I should try this.
Yeah, because I mean, the winning couple gets like $100,000, and then even so, the ones that don't, they come out and they're famous and they get like a ton of brand rep. It's quite big, but yeah, I mean, the Love Island company is just like churning these kids out like butter. Like it's like they have hundreds of these kids.
There's got to be an age. Like I'm actually too old for this, right? Like what's the age limit? Because I'll do this shit.
It's like I think. Well, I don't. Okay, so I think it might be like early 30s because I know in the UK one, there's one guy right now that's like 33, and I've seen people before that are in like between 30 and 33, but they usually try to get him in like mid to late 20s, and then so it's basically from what I've seen is they'll go from like 18 to 33, which is wild because I'm like, what 18-year-old is going on this show trying to like find the love of their life?
I wanted to find the love of my life at 18, so I would have done it.
Yeah, but I mean, they really like gut you on your appearance. It's the whole thing because you spend the entire show just in your bathing suit. You're just out,
Oh yeah,
because you're like out in a villa in Spain.
I'd have to run like an extra mile,
So
and I can get in shape. I can get in shape in like a fucking month though. It's not even a challenge.
Shame, like, so the USA one just ended a couple nights ago, and it was fucked up. So the one of the couples that was like, I think they were like third or fourth place. So what happens is when they're in the villa, they're isolated to each other. So they have no sense of time. They don't have their phones or anything. And so and it's happening, they film the show live. So it's live every night. And so when they had the season finale on the other night, as it's happening live, somebody in the real world, some fucked up person, decides to like leak the sex videos of one of the people on the finale. And so he basically like got out, and then it was just like chaos. And on top of that, it wasn't just like any sex video. I guess back in college or something, he had sex with men, and it was very private. So people were like, okay, so there's like a video going around now of some Love Island guy getting fucked in the ass.
Are people really? Because in 2024, I'm pretty sure you're like a nerd if you're not gay. Like that's how it works now.
I know, right? I don't know. I don't know. But I will say though that like I know with Love Island, so because it's been on for so long, what they do is they basically pair you up with like a therapist. Like you like every day you're on the show, like you have to check in with a therapist, and then like several months afterwards as well, because there's actually been a couple of people over the years that have killed themselves because of the show. There's like 3 or 4 people. It's like a known thing that like you come out of Love Island and people just, harass you about the fame, and some people can't take it and have off themselves. So now they implement this whole therapy thing. It's nuts.
That sounds
But
ridiculous.
it's people kill themselves from all the hate from a TV show. It's very wild.
I think I think some people think they're cut out for it and they're not.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd be hilarious. Like it's I wish that like there was like a million hateful comments on my videos. Like I'd be so excited.
But how's TikTok going?
I slacked last week. I get likes. So on TikTok, it's like impossible to get followers. Like everyone just likes your shit and then fucks off.
Yeah, I've never joined that game. I don't need another app.
So I've already learned that all of the editing that you have to do this shit is way too much. And the problem with it is that every platform has a different like time. So like Instagram Reels are 1 minute and 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts are 1 minute or less. TikTok videos are pretty much like up to 10 minutes. So like I can use my Instagram videos on TikTok, but then to get it on YouTube, which is like where I'm actually trying to do shit right now, that's like the biggest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to like take a reel that I've already edited down to perfect amount for Instagram and TikTok and then edit 30 seconds out of it for YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just way too much. Like I don't feel like sitting on CapCut my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's it's all about shorts and clips and reels. And I mean, I know that
it's crazy that like now it's lame to post a photo. Like it's like real or bust, like it's wild because
TikTok literally changed everything.
Yeah, like I'm still on the era of like early Instagram, like just throw up a photo, that's it. I'm like, now everybody has to, be a filmographer and like just be an actor. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, my whole personal Instagram is just pictures of my mom and my sister and me. Like it's.
Yeah, I just cannot be bothered. It's
I
just
remember reading like years ago that Instagram is moving, like it changed its algorithm to focus more on reels than like pictures. So now that's why you see reels of pictures. Like they'll just post the picture in the form of a reel, and they'll put like a
I
song to
don't
it.
even like that. It's like just show me the picture. I don't need somebody singing in the background, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that. It's it's like some picture of like the ocean with like Sade playing. It's like I don't need to see that. I don't care.
Oh,
But
and then TikTok took all the music off of it, so that kind of ruined like any of the fun that there was to be
they
had
did?
there. Yeah, it was like a big deal. They like decided to not renew their agreement with like the record labels, and so all the music off TikTok is gone.
Interesting. Okay. So did you hear last night? Actually, I might have sent it to you. That thing about Elon Musk.
Oh God, what's up with
And
you and Elon Musk lately?
and well, what do you mean? I mean, I see these articles coming up and I think
You sent me 2 articles about Elon Musk like talking shit about him for like I think the last 2 days.
well, I think yeah, they show up on my feed and I just find it like I found last night's one really interesting about how he was like, I don't know, what did he say? He's like, he like dead named his child or
Oh,
something.
his transgender kid.
Yeah. I'm
So
like,
first of all, it's I don't give a fuck about like all these kids are like Elon Musk. Like they first of all, everyone used to love Elon because he's the electric car guy.
yeah, I remember
Then all of a
that.
sudden he's like, oh, I like free speech, and everyone's like, oh no, we don't fuck with like. I think people think that free speech is like a right wing dog whistle now, and it's like no, some people just like free speech. I don't care about him one way or the other. Like I don't like him,
Yeah.
I don't dislike him. Sometimes he annoys me, sometimes he's funny. When he literally talks about killing the woke mind virus, that's when he's at his tackiest. It's so
I
goofy.
think that's hilarious. See, but yeah,
He sounds like a James Bond villain. Like he's gonna kill the woke mind virus by sending a rocket to Mars. But I will say on that specific subject that I should probably never talk about here if I ever want to like try to do something on YouTube. When it comes to having a transgender child, I don't know what it's like to have children, so I suppose I'm not all that qualified. I could understand both ways. I could see somebody being upset about that. I could see somebody being supportive about it. I don't know how it goes. I don't have a kid. So if I ever have a son and he decides he's a woman, like I'll get back to you. But I think I can understand where the guy's coming from. You have a son, you name him, you raise him, and then all of a sudden this. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm in the same position as you. I don't really mind him or care for him. I feel like there's some stuff that he does where I'm like, well, that's weird. Like how he's super into like breeding, you know, like he's like, I have to breed with every woman to like repopulate. Like that's gross and creepy. But then, you know, he's doing stuff like Neuralink, and I think that shit is so interesting. So
I think that's the worst stuff he does. I think it's ridiculous that he's talking about how we need to be careful. AI is going to take over the world. Yet this guy's putting fucking chips in people. Like,
yeah, well,
someone call Ted Kaczynski, please.
It's like, I don't know. I some stuff he does I find interesting, and then others I'm like whatever. But yeah, I mean a lot of people really hate him. They really go on about him, and I'm like, I just. Whatever.
Well, there's the weird, and I can't stand it, the weird like hate boner that the kids have for people just because they're rich. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, everybody wants to be rich. Like the only people that hate rich people are people that are not rich. Like none of those kids that say they hate billionaires would ever turn down $1 billion.
Yeah.
And if one of them actually would turn down $1 billion, then we need to seriously consider mandatory institutionalization for these fucking kids, because no one in their right man's turning down $1 billion. I mean, I like Bernie Sanders. I think I think he's a really cool dude, but I thought it was hilarious that like his whole career, he talked shit about millionaires. And then once he made $1 million, he changed it to billionaires. Because no one's going to turn down money. So I can't stand that. I can't stand the whole like, oh, rich people are like the worst people. Like, bro, I mean, I understand it if it's like like I talked about Bill Gates. I don't like Bill Gates because he's trying to fuck around with too much stuff. I don't need Bill Gates telling me to take a vaccine.
Yeah.
No opinions on vaccines one way or the other. I'm not saying that. But I don't need the guy who started Microsoft to tell me to take a fucking vaccine. Like, that's not, go fuck with your computers, go be a billionaire. Like, that's the only time I don't like rich people is when they start getting involved in shit they don't need to be involved in. But if someone's just a fucking billionaire because they did a bunch of work and like shit worked out for them, then okay, that's cool. Like, I hope I make $1 billion. Like, so I don't understand the whole idea of fuck rich people just because they're rich. No, there's got to be something that they're doing that's wrong for me to say fuck them for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Know, just having money does not make you a terrible fucking person. It just so happens that a lot of people with money are terrible people, but it's not just having money that makes them like.
Yeah.
I think that's just jealousy, honestly.
So then what do you think of the Kardashians? Since they're
honestly
women.
They're fine. Like you might not agree with how Kim Kardashian made her fucking money, but like she made her fucking money. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's more telling that so many people are as obsessed with them as they are.
Yeah.
That's all I think. Dude, if I had $1 million, I'd be acting stupid too. I'd be out acting like the fucking Kardashian. Like, of course I would be. But it's the fact that they've been like turned into these celebrities. Okay, speaking of celebrity culture, I guess this is a good lead in. The fucking Hak Tua girl.
Yeah.
So I can't fucking stand this shit. First of all, like, she's fine, whatever. But have you been seeing all the shit that they're like gonna make a reality series about her and like?
Yeah, I saw like some interview with her. Yeah.
She was at the Jake Paul fight. Like, this girl made a 4-second dick sucking joke on the internet, and she's a full blown celebrity now. So I can't stand this. This is the first time this ever bugged me. Was this is a throwback? The Catch Me Outside girl.
Yeah.
So this one actually hit me deep. The Catch Me Outside girl, after all that shit, got signed to a deal with Atlantic Records. She signed a major label record deal, which is what I'd spent my entire like teenage years and early 20s trying to do.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this. When I scroll through Instagram every day, I see handfuls to hundreds of like 8-year-olds who are like virtuosos at their guitars and drums and like real talented people that get like 100 likes per post.
Yeah.
But it turns out all you really need to do is go on Dr. Phil, act like a retard, embarrass your family, humiliate your mother, like steal a car. Like, that's all you need to actually do to get famous.
No, that is actually very true. Remember the Island Boys? Yeah. That's why I told you, I was like, if you want to get somewhere on here, you have to do something weird or dress weird, because that's what people want to see. They only want to see like visual. That's all they care about nowadays. Doesn't matter the talent, as if you're doing something weird and shocking. That's what you have to do. Like, you just got to show up and like maybe spike your hair, like just straight up or something like bizarre.
You know, I was just saying I would enjoy getting a lot of hate comments from people, but the level of hate for the Island Boys was like fucking nuclear. I don't know if I could handle it. Like,
you know, they like shave their heads off now. Like I've seen them. They completely. It's just they still look bad because they tattooed like their whole face and like everything, and it's just
the last thing I saw of them was when they were making out.
Oh, they did that? That's so gross.
Do you not remember that?
No.
They started doing these weird videos where they were
That's
kissing.
Disgusting.
And they were telling people that because their idea, I mean, they're legitimately retarded. Like, they're actually low IQ. They're legitimately were talking about how because they're twins, they're like the same person. So it's like they're not kissing anybody. It was something, I don't remember if that's exactly what, but dude, yeah, look it up. They like went through this phase where they were making out for like views on TikTok. Like people would dare them in the comments to make out. Like,
ew, that's gnarly. Oh man, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't think I want to see that. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
but they get like they get a lot of girls from what I see. You know what I think though? When I see them, they look really small. Like in person, like they look very scrawny and like small in stature. I don't think that.
I thought they look tall.
Really? I don't know. I feel like they're like they act hard, but they look like somebody could just knock him out.
Well, first of all, don't knock scrawny dudes because scrawny dudes get girls. I can speak to.
Yeah, but like you're tall. Like I'm talking about like they look short. And
Yeah, I thought they were tall, but I couldn't really. Yeah.
I think I don't think they're that big. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, if we're just gonna go there, I could beat up the Island Boys. I could beat up both of them, but that was you know, there was a meme that I saw that was about Florida, and I wish I could remember the other characters on it. Oh,
aren't they from Florida?
It was a meme about how ridiculous Florida is, and it literally said like Casey Anthony, the Island Boys, and it might have been the Catch Me Outside girl, and then one other character. They all live in the same county in Florida. Like that's how ridiculous. Everything happens in Florida. You watch any true crime documentary, any ridiculous story of like a guy having sex with a fucking bird, like it's weird. Like it's Florida. Weird shit happens in Florida.
Wait, so the news actually says that one of the Island Boys member arrested again.
God, probably for like taking Xanax and driving or something.
Wait, I gotta see this article. This has got to be funny. Oh, reckless driving in Fort Lauderdale.
Taking Xanax and driving, I bet you. That's what I got a reckless driving charge when I was. That's how I.
22.
Yeah. Doesn't that make you just want to fucking kill yourself?
Young. They're only 22.
Yeah. People are making it big, hella young, and then it makes me feel terrible.
Well, you have to do something shocking, unfortunately.
I have an idea that I messaged
people want to see weird, crazy shit. You know what? Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay, since we're talking, okay, I messaged a friend of mine, right? I've had two ideas lately. Number one, I think more so just a business idea than a viral idea. I think it'd be a great idea to write suicide notes for people and then have them pay me.
What?
Right. So look, if you were going to check out, right, like you're like, okay, next week I'm going to do it. I'm going to leave. You could hit me up. And then the thing that I would do is I'll take details. So you could tell me like, you know, this is my mom's name. I need you to talk about her. This is what she, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
I'll write your fucking suicide letter all nice and poetically. You got to pay me in advance, of course, or at least before you check out, before you do the damn thing. And then, yeah, I think you can make money. And then my second idea was just that, and I messaged a friend of mine that I've always wanted to record videos with. He keeps saying he wants to, but he's just always fucking busy. He's fucking lame. I've talked about him here before. He'd be down to do the most ridiculous shit. Like he'd have a viral video in no time if he really wanted to. You know those trendy videos where people walked around with like money and they're like, "Oh, do you want this $20? Or do you want me to double it and give it to the next person?"
Yeah.
I have a stash of Polaroid pictures that are naked pictures of an ex-girlfriend. And I want to walk around a town with them and say, "Do you want this naked picture of my ex, or do you want me to double it and give it to the next person?" And then keep going. And the only reason I thought of that was because the even funnier idea, but I could never get it to work because I would need a group of girls, is I want to walk up to guys and say, "Do you want to have sex with this girl, or do you want me to double it and give it to the next person?" And then bring in another girl from the group, walk up to the next guy, and then four. Yeah, but I don't know that many girls.
Okay, so there's two things on that. So if you don't do something shocking, another way that people get a lot of followers is by doing things like that, where you walk around with a microphone and asking questions. Like there's that one guy, what is he? He's saying like, "What are you listening to?" And then he gets like tons of them. Also, there is a show in the UK that already does that, what you're saying. But it's called Sex Box, where they basically will find two random people and see if they want to have sex with one another. And then if they agree, they do it on live TV, like in a box. British TV is wild, but it's been thought of.
So first of all, I have a camera. It's just a GoPro. It's like the newest GoPro. And then I have a microphone for the, like, it's the same brand. Like I've got a setup. Like I could easily go out tomorrow and like do those man on the streets videos with the microphone. I've even got like the handheld. And the thing that's perfect about it is that I live right next to a like a huge liberal college town.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seriously, there's one buddy of mine. If I could get him on one fucking day when he's not being fucking lame, he just messaged me the other day and he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking to get into to satanic shit." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Where do you think I should start?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. Like, just get the Satanic Bible." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna check that shit out." But he's the kind of guy that like I could get him to I could get him. He would say anything. Like he would stand up in front of a crowd of people and fucking say anything. Like he is fearless.
Well, if this doesn't work out, what you could do is you'd have to go on a show like My Strange Addiction or like Hoarders or something like that.
Oh
like,
no.
like fake a hoard.
I could probably
Like the worse the hoard, the better. Like, because then people really like, have you seen that episode?
I used to watch a lot of My Strange Addiction.
Yeah, me too. I love that shit.
That one, and then did you ever watch what's the one about the cheapskates?
What was that one?
The people that are like so desperate to save money that they like
Oh,
barter.
the coupon?
No, not coupons. It's like people that do anything to save money. Like so, like one guy barters at the Dollar Tree, and like one guy, like people dumpster dive even though they've got money, and like there's a guy that rubs cornstarch on himself naked instead of an air conditioner because he says cornstarch keeps you cool. Yeah, I think it's called like Extreme Cheapskates. I think that's what it's called.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I remember that.
That
yeah.
That show's hard to watch because you see them in some like goofy fucking positions.
I mean, I was really big into My Strange Addiction and then Little People Big World. Like way back in the day. You know? Yeah, those shows were great. I always remember though, out of all those addiction episodes, the guy that had a relationship with his car. And then the one that he like had sex with like the blow up pool floaties. I don't know if you remember that one.
No.
There was like the girl that was like obsessed with eating, was it like drywall or something like that? Or that was fucking nuts. Yeah, you'd have to do something like that to get people's attention.
I'd rather go fuck with the liberal college kids.
Yeah, I mean that's easier than developing a weird addiction that could be very harmful.
It would be great. I remember I was actually pissed that I like didn't think to go. You know Charlie Kirk?
No, who's that?
He's just one of those fucking conservative dudes that everyone hates. He's like one of the guys that goes to colleges and like you see the viral videos of like this guy punks college kid. He was at the school that's in the town next to me and like kids like rioted and shit because he was there. And I really should have gone and like fucked with some college kids. It'd be so fun. And the best part is that I've got no dog in the fight. Like I don't give a fuck about any of all that. Like it'd just be fun to go fuck with people. Which I think is what would make me like great at it, because like I don't give a fuck who you are. I'll make fun of you. I don't care what your side is.
Are you talking about Davis? Is that the college?
Yeah, I live right by UC Davis.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I found out that because remember a while ago I told you I had this estranged cousin that I've been looking for.
Yeah.
So she goes to UC Davis.
I should go find her.
I'm like, we got to find this 21-year-old girl. I don't know. She'd probably be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Leave me alone.
No, I'll find her. I won't mention you. I'll get her to fall in love with me. And then
all I know is that she goes to UC Davis and she works at some gym nearby, some fancy gym. So I don't know what gyms you know out there.
Yeah, I can find that.
But just go to like all the gyms and look at all the receptionists. Like, are you Annie's cousin? We've been looking for you.
Well, you're going to have to give me a picture.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only picture I have of her is from like 10 years ago. So you would have to work with that. I
can make it work. No, what I'll do is I'll get her to fall in love with me. I won't say anything. I'll court her for like 6 months. And then just one day I'll be like, oh yeah, I talked to this girl, Annie, and like see what she said.
Be like, who's that? All I know is she's 21 And I mean, when I was 21 and she was like, I don't know how old, like 13, 14, she was taller than me. She was almost 6 foot. So she's probably over 6 foot now. She might be your height.
No, girls usually reach like 5'10" at the most.
Well, she's like both of her parents are over 6 foot. Like she's a basketball player.
If her, I'm pretty sure a girl over 6 feet, that's like freakish.
Don't tell her that. Like, I mean,
Well, no, I'm being serious. Like, I'm pretty sure like that I've dated the two tallest girls I dated were either like 5'9" or 5'10", and that's fucking tall for a girl.
yeah, that is.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm
She's
6'3", so no matter what, I'm going to be taller than, I've never had to worry about a girl being taller than me. And if a girl is taller than me, that's my one way to tell that, okay, that's a fucking freak. Like, that's not supposed to, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Have you seen those videos on Instagram? There's some girl, she's like, I think she might have red hair. And she's like one of the tallest girls in the world right now. She's like 14 and I think she's like 7'2".
Oh, fucking.
It's like, it's crazy. Like, it's just like she's all legs and it's just like sticks. It's nuts. And then she does a lot of like fashion videos, but then she like hits her head on the ceiling by accident. It's nuts. And then she talks a lot about like she can't find a partner.
Oh, I bet. I feel bad for her, honestly.
Yeah, that's quite rough.
She's gonna have to find a guy that like has a fetish for that, honestly. She's gonna have to find a guy that like wants to be, those guys that like to be dominated by girls and shit. Like and she probably doesn't want that. She probably just wants a normal fucking dude, not some fucking weirdo who wants to be like demolished by a woman.
But can't you, okay, this might be like wild, but can't you get like surgery? For your, like you can get surgery to make you taller.
But that's a huge deal. Like that's like a year. We're talking like a year just to like relearn how to walk and shit. And also with the amount that she would need removed, like over 2 fucking feet removed, like it might not be possible for her to, because even to get taller, you can get surgery and become like 3 inches taller. Like, sure. Even that's like a year-long recovery. Like that's a big deal. For a girl who's like 7 feet, if she wants to be normal, she's got to go down to like 5'4", 5'5", like but just cut off half her leg. Or reattach the feet to the bottom of the stumps. That's what would be going on.
That's rough. Did Jordan respond to you by chance? What's this kid doing?
I don't think so.
Let's see. Whatever happened to Jay?
He sends me reels like legitimately every 10 minutes of every day. Like I legitimately open my inbox and there's like over 30 reels from him.
Oh.
I think he doesn't see the stories that I post. The stories that I post don't get views on Wednesday nights at 6, like right now.
Yeah. I mean, mine do. Like
okay, no, he saw this. Right now I have 39 people that have seen it. My engagement's been terrible ever since that. I'll continue.
Send him the link.
Jay?
Yeah.
I don't want to bring him on.
Like Matt, well, send him the link so he can talk in the chat.
What's up with you always wanting people in the chat?
Because why not? It still adds to the chaos of whatever.
Well, we have like 30 minutes left at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, so it looks like Matt liked my stories. That's funny. Yeah, he's definitely on a sick one.
I have do you have any opinions on Yoko Ono?
Why are you gonna be like, well, I hate her, she ruined everything?
No, I don't hate her at all. I was actually gonna remember in that subject list I posted that great defense of Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna explain the video, and because there's more to it than Yoko on it, like completely. I think I don't know. You might think it's interesting, especially because you're a fucking girl. So so the whole point of the video, she talks about how everyone talks about how Yoko Ono destroyed the Beatles and she controlled John Lennon and she was a manipulative bitch. And the whole video obviously is saying she's not, which I agree with. I don't give her that much credit. I don't really care about her one way or the other. She's fine. Like John Lennon liked her. But this girl, the two main topics she brings up are, one, she talks about this like over infantilization of male artists. So like she brings up Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain. How everyone says that Courtney like destroyed Kurt, and like, you know, she's basically the Yoko Ono of Nirvana. And yeah, we infantilize like our music, like John Lennon, like Sweet Flower, Baby Boy, like Yoko Ono ruined him, and Kurt Cobain was like the sensitive guy, and Courtney Love came and ruined him. And then she talked about, and this one was more interesting. She talked about how as time has gone on, a lot of women have gotten kind of these reevaluations. She brought up Britney Spears and said back in the day, remember Britney Spears was like a tabloid joke. Now we all realize how terrible she was treated and how bad we feel for her. Then you have what's her name? Pamela Anderson. The sex tape with Tommy Lee basically ruined her career. But nowadays, remember, we just got that Hulu docuseries that was about that whole saga from her perspective.
Yeah.
And then she brought up, I think there was one more that I can't remember, but one that was interesting was she brought up Amber Heard. She said that Amber Heard, she's basically on Amber Heard's side over Johnny Depp, which I didn't give a fuck about that whole case when everybody was watching.
Too.
I could not have cared less about it. I didn't watch a single second of it, but I know that the overwhelming majority of people sided with Johnny Depp. But this girl went with Amber Heard, and she said that in 20 years, watch, Amber Heard will get her reevaluation. People will feel bad for her. I just remember the third person she brought up was Monica Lewinsky. Back when the Bill Clinton shit happened, Monica Lewinsky was deemed like the whore of America. But now we look back on her with some sympathy and feel bad that she was just a young intern in the White House and all this shit happened. And so, but what she was saying was that all that's happened, but Yoko Ono is the one woman that's never gotten her reevaluation. Like to this day, she's still the bitch that ruined the Beatles. And yeah, it was a really interesting video. There's a lot more to it.
I feel like that'll only happen when all of the Beatles go. Like more time needs to pass.
Why?
I just feel like there's still so many people alive that are a part of that generation, and they really, you know, the Beatles really changed the entire world. So it might be like when we are older, or like the next or the younger generation.
Yeah, but all three of the girls I just mentioned, they were all from like the 90s and early 2000s, and we're still here. But
the Beatles are a lot bigger. The Beatles are like, you know, the kings of rock and roll.
I know, but
it's just that's like I can see why she hasn't gotten that yet. Like I feel like once Paul and Ringo go, and some time has passed, and people are just kind of, you know, thinking about things, then that might come up. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
I don't, I think that's interesting. I don't agree though, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think she'll ever, I think for some reason she is just always going to be, because I know you mentioned the Beatles are like the biggest thing, but Monica Lewinsky, like Bill Clinton was the fucking president of America, and like,
yeah, but it's just like that's the president. Like the Beatles are more iconic, you know. But no, I would agree. Like that's what I'm saying. I think it's either never going to happen, or if it does happen, it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because people get quite emotional about the Beatles. So yeah. You can't really, I mean, I don't mind her though. I know other people are like, fuck her, and I'm like, I don't mind her.
Yeah, I've never given her the credit of breaking up the Beatles. It's ridiculous. There's way too much like documented beef between the Beatles to think that she is the one that came along and broke them up. I have a friend, two of my best friends, their dad, who was pretty much like my second dad through my childhood. He died right before we went into freshman year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a bummer. And it sucks because now I'm really into the Beatles, and he was like the biggest Beatles fan you could imagine. They had a hallway in their house, and the entire hallway was just fucking Beatles memorabilia, and I'm talking like real memorabilia, like
Yeah.
shit that was like expensive. And it really sucks because now I'd love to talk to him about the Beatles, but
Yeah.
back when I was in like middle school, I didn't give a fuck about the Beatles. Well, that's not true. I always liked the Beatles, just like I'm talking like when I'm like a little kid and I'm crying and my grandpa puts on the Beatles and I hear Help and I stop crying, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But by the time middle school came around and I was like wearing eyeliner and into the used, I was not listening to the Beatles. But now it'd be great to go back and talk to him about the Beatles. But
Well, a couple of years ago, I went to see Ringo and his all-star band
oh yeah.
because he switches up the band. And so it was like one of the guys from Toto and a couple other people. But I thought it was interesting because what is he in his 70s, 80s? And it's like he's singing these early Beatles songs, and a lot of them were about like young girls, like being 16. And I'm like, it's kind of creepy that you're singing about like really young teenage girls as a 75-year-old
Well,
man.
was he supposed to change the lyrics in the songs?
No, I get that he's, it's those are his songs and that, but it was weird. It was like, okay, like there's so many Beatles songs. Why did you pick?
Because he just likes him. That's like the same thing as my last band. We had a song called "Just a Kid," and the chorus was about because I'm just a kid, and I was
Yeah.
like 19. My singer was like 21 when he wrote it. So we always joke about if we played a reunion show, he would sing "I'm just an adult" instead of like "I'm just a kid." But no, Simple Plan still plays "Just a Kid." Like
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Well, okay. So did you ever have a Doors phase or a Jim Morrison phase?
No, I like Jim Morrison. I like Jim Morrison more than I like the Doors. I explained this to Jay when he was in the chat. I'm really into like the rock and roll characters, and Jim Morrison as a rock and roll character throughout rock and roll. He's badass.
But did you ever like when you were growing up, did you ever have
No,
that kid at school that was like trying to be Jim Morrison?
no,
We
no.
had that.
You're in LA though.
It was like there was always some kid but then it was like I remember in high school, yeah, there would be the guys that were in bands that were really trying to like emulate him. But then there were a couple of girls, like including myself, that absolutely loved the Doors. And it was kind of like this, I don't know, this hidden grudge between one another of like who liked them more and who was the bigger fan.
That's girl stuff.
Yeah, it was stupid, but now it just it's yeah. I don't know, to me it's interesting. Like I follow a couple of people on Instagram that they're our age and they still are super into like all the 60s and 70s stuff, and they've created their lives literally based all around that theme. So they dress like it, their home looks like it. And I feel like when we were younger, like that was really cool. But I feel like as time has passed, I don't know, at least for me, I'm kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't resonate with me anymore. And it's like weird when I see young kids today or people our age even that are like just dressing as if they're in the 60s. And I'm like, shit's fucked up now. Like you can't too much time
Well,
passed.
the way that kids today are dressing, like past trends, I think shows the lack of originality today. Because when we were kids, like the whole emo thing was going on,
Yeah.
at least for me. But that was a new and current thing. Now for kids, it's a new and current thing to dress like you're from the 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
It's like you haven't even made up your own shit yet. Even my uncle, who's like not up to date on any of the shit, recently was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that like baggy jeans are like making a comeback." And I
They
was like,
are.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing like they're not just like making their own shit. Like I know I've made the comments that my mom made that like the scene kid phase was a rehash of 80s like scene and hair metal, but it
Yeah.
was like our own spin. Like now the entire trend is just nostalgia, throwback. There's nothing like current going on, it seems like.
Yeah. No, I mean, because I sell clothing, and I can tell you that nobody wants to buy skinny jeans anymore. It's only baggy, wide leg, or straight leg. All these kids today, they just want to wear muted tones and just wide leg jeans, Jenko jeans. It's also weird, like going to Target and then seeing all the clothes that like we grew up with is like now in there, like that's the fashion is Y2K. And I'm like, oh God,
I still
like
love
why is this happening?
I still love tight jeans. I still wear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love a good skinny jean like that, but I feel like that's our generation because the younger
Yeah.
generation, I've heard them, they're like, ew, why would you wear that? It's they don't get it. It's just, but I have also heard, like, I've seen videos on Instagram that scene and emo are making a big comeback with the younger kids.
But yeah, emo is huge right now. It's ridiculous.
It's, yeah, it's,
I'm
it,
I
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still waiting for the phase that I really want to come back because obviously emo is near and dear to my heart, but the one that I really want is like 2011 through 2014, 2015 Tumblr when people were saying soft grunge and girls were like, remember the original? I know it's not the original hipster, but the first hipster breed that came along when I was in school, and the girls that I fell in
Yeah.
love with were the girls that wore a lot of feathers,
With
dream
the owl earring. Oh, you
owls,
like that? Oh,
dream catchers. That was a big thing.
oh
The
my
shaped
God.
triangles, just anything with triangles on it, and then
Hmm.
deer antlers, and then
Yeah.
like Native American iconography. Any girl like that with like the thick black frame glasses, holy
And then they
shit!
have like the beanie with like the scene hair underneath that's like
Yeah,
chopped and short. Yeah, I knew a couple of girls like that.
I
And
was
then
completely in love with a girl that was like the most dirty, rotten, like Forever 21 hipster, and she fucking stepped all over my heart.
they would take those photos where like they bent their legs inward, like trying to be awkward.
It was the best.
Yeah. No, I remember those girls were always very popular. But no, yeah, I wasn't a part of that, but I definitely knew of it. I mean, it's just like to me, yeah, I don't care for that time period.
Oh, you're crazy.
It was
Yeah,
such like a weird time.
it was all about Forever 21.
Oh yeah.
MGMT was big on the
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
M83, they had
Yeah.
that song Midnight City. It's like Midnight City, I think it's called. Um,
But like there what's crazy now is there's clothing from Forever 21 and Charlotte Russe that's considered vintage,
yeah, I don't want to
which
talk.
is like that is so
I don't want to talk about it.
it's yeah, no, people say like vintage Forever 21, but actually a lot of those stores have closed down. I know that Forever 21 has been slowly going
Oh,
under.
dude, like junior year, my friends were in senior year. Literally like every day after school, we would drive to the next town, and there was a Forever 21. And then shortly after we graduated, it closed down. Like that
Yeah.
was like our after school plan. We got a Forever 21 and like look at clothes and buy clothes. And I remember one time, one of the harshest thing that ever happened in my life. I was at that Forever 21. So of course all the cashiers are fucking beautiful. And my debit card, I like ran out of money and like didn't catch it. And my debit card declined in front of this really pretty cashier at Forever 21. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, she knows I'm fucking broke. And like it was terrible.
Yeah,
Um,
it was my favorite store back in the day.
Forever 21, here's the thing about their clothes, right? So they had the best like tall black tees because tall black tees were popular at the time. And I was very
Mhm.
lucky because I'm tall, so I've always needed tall tees. But Forever 21, all of their clothes, a lot of them were really good, but then they always had these clothes that like would be perfect, but then like you turn it around and there's like a fucking pizza wearing sunglasses on the back of it.
Yeah.
You're always like, oh, that's perfect. And then you look at it like, oh, there's one thing on it that just ruins it.
Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, no, I remember all the graphic tees and I remember what I hated about that time is I remember there were a lot of blouses where they would put like an elastic band at the waistline. So I hated that. But it was like that was what was in. Like everybody wanted that style. It was just crazy.
It was a great time.
After.
I definitely dated a lot of girls that wore feathers in their hair. I used to wear feathers in my hair. I had a girl's mom who was like a hair. Well, she did hair. She there were feathers that they would like she would use a hair straightener and it would heat and stick into your hair. I can't remember exactly the process of it. But and then there was also some feathers I had that they were just like on a clip and you just clip them underneath in the bottom layer of your hair and then
yeah.
I was way into that shit. I was I had a sleeveless shirt with like a Native American dude on it with the big headdress and me and my friend went through a great phase. We wore animal tails. There was a website
my god, yes.
Yeah, we'd buy you could buy like a legitimate real like a raccoon tail on a keychain and like wear that shit from your.
Yeah, I remember a lot of girls had that on their bags.
And then Tom's was also the move.
Yeah. And then I also remember wearing moccasins was just like the greatest thing ever. It's interesting now, like thinking about it, is like, why was there so much Native American influence during that time?
Because it looks cool. It still does.
It's like I'm just realizing that like right now as we speak is why. I wonder what caused that.
My band at the time, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or Mark. My band at the time, we'd play shows and we paint our faces like all like Native Americans are trying to do Native American style face paint.
Yeah.
And then kids started painting their faces and would show up to our shows, and that's how we could tell that they were our people because we all had the face paint on.
Online, it says it's called Indie Sleaze.
That makes way too much sense.
Is that what it's called? Like, really?
I don't know, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Indie Sleaze.
The Native American influence?
No, that era that you like, that style of fashion.
Oh, I see girls on Instagram calling it the soft grunge era. But I also think the soft grunge is probably like a year or two after this that you're talking about.
No, it's literally, Indie Sleaze. And then it's like the guys would wear the fucking brim hats.
The fedoras.
Yes, the fedoras. And then they would wear like the very thin cotton shirts that kind of like hung low a little bit.
Yeah.
With like a blazer. Yeah. Or like, I remember a lot of girls. Sorry. I remember a lot of girls that would have like, maybe like, they had bangs with medium length hair. And then I remember dyeing your hair red was like a thing for a while. And I think that had to do with the show Skins. If you ever watched that, that became a big.
I didn't, but I think I dated a girl that watched Skins. I did. One of my favorite ex-girlfriends, she watched Skins a lot.
Yeah.
And if my girlfriend ever watched the show, I made sure not to watch it.
Yeah. I loved Skins. It was just everybody was on drugs and it's like what you wanted to be doing. It was so good. Oh yeah. And then I remember, okay, so I'm looking at Indie Sleaze. Leopard print was huge. And then wearing the fucking like Lady Gaga bows in your hair was huge. I remember that.
I remember the leopard print now that you bring that up.
Yeah. Leopard print was so big.
Really, any animal print for the most, like animals were kind of a big.
Did you ever remember, like, did you ever have friends or see people where they would have the, like, you could get them in different patterns, but I always remember like the leopard print chair and it was a shoe. It was like a high-heeled stiletto shoe, but it was a chair. Yeah, I remember a lot of girls having that in their rooms during that time.
It makes a lot of sense.
And it was always leopard print or like hot pink or something like that.
Yeah, that was a great era. That was certainly a good time.
Okay, yeah, it says clothing included. What is this? Ballet flats, chunky gold jewelry, tight t-shirts with ironic slogans.
I still have, if you look right behind me, these things are a bunch of like fake, and there's some chunky gold necklaces underneath all these.
Yeah. Skinny jeans and band t-shirts. Oh man, and side swept bangs. I had a cousin, I remember, and he had the side swept bangs, and like every day it was like he was going like this like every fucking 5 minutes, and I'm like, dude. And like he said it made him look hot, and that's how he got the girls. And he did get the girls because they were like, oh my god, like he's so mysterious with those bangs.
It was true.
It's just, yeah, what a time. Oh yeah, and the fucking Aztec prints, I remember that the tribal prints were so
Yeah.
big. Yeah, it's interesting that the like the tribal aesthetic, the American Indian cultural aesthetic was big. That's funny. Oh yeah, and then it says these people usually listen to the Strokes, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Interpol,
Yeah,
and the
because
Velvet Underground.
the Strokes in the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, I always thought of them as so I started, I haven't finished it yet, but I started reading that book, Meet Me in the Bathroom, that's all about the New York indie rock scene, like around the
Mhm.
time of the Strokes and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. To me, they're like not the that was I don't know what the first wave of hipster was, but the Strokes and Yeah Yeah Yeahs, that was certainly one of the waves of hipster. And then after that, that's when emo and scene came in. And then after that, we kind of got the combination of like the Strokes indie hipster shit, but then you still had sideswept bangs and tight jeans, and so it was kind of the combination of the scene kid and like the Strokes style hipster kid.
Yeah.
So to me, that makes total sense. That's why, because sideswept bangs is an emo thing or a scene kid thing, but you pretty much just took the scene kid hair, put it on a fucking hipster, and then that was like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Do you remember that band Group Love?
Yeah.
They did that once. I'm gonna listen to that song on my run tonight.
Um, let's see, what else does it say? Oh my God. Remember when everybody liked American Apparel?
Oh yeah,
It
because
was big too.
they had the plain shirts and plain hoodies.
I remember like begging my parents to take me there, and then of course it was like $70 for a hoodie or something ridiculous, like a plain
Yep,
green hoodie. And
well
then
worth it.
yeah, I like convinced them to get it. They're like, you better wear this.
You know what I want to know? And I guess this is gonna be like the most off topic we've got in like 5 minutes. I want to ask my mom. I've been meaning to ask her. I'm very curious if every other generation, because by the time we hit 28, 29, like the internet, like, we get flooded and sold like all this nostalgia shit just 24/7.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that's like a brand new thing. Like, is this something that happened on the internet? Or like, I'm gonna ask my mom, like, hey, when you turned
Mm.
30, like, did they just push the 80s in your face all day long? Because that's what happens to me. Like, it's just here's the early 2000s. It's like, bro, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I get it. I lived through it. I love it. I don't want to think about it because it makes me sad. Honestly, I want to complain about like the nostalgia pages that will be like, like it'll show you like I think I've talked about this before. Like it'll just be like a picture slideshow, and it'll be like a picture of like a Slipknot poster in a kid's bedroom, and then a Mountain Dew next to a PlayStation 2, and then a picture
Yeah.
of Bam Margera on MTV, and like it's like, bro, yeah, I get it. Like I like let me fucking live. Like leave me alone about it. Like it's like this it's like overboard. Like it's going way too far. So I need to ask my
But
mom.
I feel like that has to do with social media. Like I remember when Stranger Things was really like at its peak. Everybody loved the 80s. Like all the young kids came out of nowhere and they were like Metallica in the 80s, all because of Stranger Things. And then it like slowly died down again. And somehow, I don't know what's caused it within the culture, but like 90s Y2K is like where it's at.
Well, because the 80s phase is over. Remember when that shit happened and Kate Bush had a #1 hit again all of a sudden?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's always been a great song, even
Oh
before
yeah. Yeah.
Stranger
No,
Things.
I'm a big fan of her. But yeah, it's like so on Love Island actually. On
Tie it
the
all back.
yeah, tie it all back, wrap this night up. So on the US Love Island, funny enough, because a lot of the kids were in their like early 20s. There was like one girl on the show, I think she was maybe like 22, and she was saying how much she loves R&B, and she was just saying, yeah, like I feel like I should have been born in the 90s. And I'm like, oh my God, like we were born in the, what do you mean? You felt like you should have been born in the 90s. I'm like, are we that old?
Yeah.
No.
We were born in the
Parenting.
1900s.
Yeah, I hate how they really like the kids like make jokes and say that like, oh, what was the 1900s like?
So what
Repeat.
I hate is one, yes, we are that old. We're almost middle age if you go by life expectancy.
Okay, so funny enough you say that because I was reading an article the other day and it was saying how like because like they said like the current life expectancy is like it like lowered a little bit. It's like 70. So now middle age is around like 35 to 39. I'm like, oh my God, that's us. No.
Yep. I never wanted to live to be 30. And I always knew.
Oh man.
Oh.
Like, what a shit show.
I hate it because it's true for me, but like it's one of those things that the kids ruin. Like I hate saying shit like I hate when I feel anxious and I have to say it because all the kids have ruined talking about being anxious.
Yeah.
But I hate when kids say they were born in the wrong generation or the wrong era. Because I legitimately was like as someone who's like a lover and a student of rock and roll, and I'm born into a generation where rock and roll dies and arguably was dead before I was even like 10 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, but you know, some people will say it died out in like the late 90s. So I hate when they say that because I'm like, oh, well, like now I can't say it because it sounds tacky as fuck because every 14-year-old who thinks they wish they were alive in the 80s, like.
But I mean, I feel like when we were kids, I feel like when we were in middle school, like early mid 2000s, there was some like fantastic rock coming out. And it's never been like that since, where we got like the Strokes and the White Stripes and, you know, bands like that. Those like I guess they labeled like alternative bands is what they labeled them as.
Yeah,
But
no.
I feel like we don't have that anymore. I'm
No,
sure
I still
that.
think rock and roll was around. Like the White Stripes are rock and roll, but I mean, it's a
Yeah.
generational thing. If you listen to Gene Simmons from Kiss, Gene Simmons will tell you rock and roll died like after Kurt Cobain died, maybe even before then.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I think like objectively, Gene Simmons and I would at least agree that at the very least, after like 2010, rock and roll was for sure dead. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting at.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I always consider, I think of The Used I think Burt McCracken in The Used. I always say that The Used was the last real like MTV rock band. Like they did like Christmas specials on MTV and
Yeah.
remember Fuse TV?
No, what was that?
It came around. It was really big in the emo phase. Like they played a lot of Taking Back Sunday and Brand New and The Used, and it was right when MTV started moving over to like early 2000s. Like MTV started going over to like The Real World and Next and like the love dating shows and shit.
Yeah.
You've got to know something about it. If you look up like Fuse TV,
Oh, look it up.
you'll recognize the logo. If you recognize the logo, you'll know exactly like right away.
Oh, Fuse?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said fetus. I was like, what?
Fetus.
That's what I thought you were saying. Yeah, no, of course I know Fuse. Yeah.
How did you not laugh when you thought I said Fetus TV?
I don't, well, I'm like, that sounds like something that, you know, would come out of that time period. Like, of course. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel like Fuse carried the torch for a good couple years.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, looks like it was just us this evening.
Yeah, we have to talk about something like.
Okay, so I'm thinking next week, like I'm not gonna create a prompt. Like let's just like do another random talk and we'll see who shows. And then we'll try to like gain somebody to come. So maybe you can like get Jordan in and we can go from there.
I'll try to hit people up on like fucking Tuesday because I messaged Jordan last week like on Wednesday after our stream and then I like forgot to reply to him ever since.
Okay.
I'm really bad at the messaging on the Disco page.
Well,
We-
this weekend I'm gonna go to another horror movie convention, so we can talk about that next week.
Who's going to be there?
Elvira
That's cool.
and a couple people I don't know. I'd have to show you the list. It was like some people I didn't know, but I know the biggest name on there was Elvira. So I'm sure her line will be very long.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'll see how that goes. And then maybe we can try to like rally up some troops.
Oh, we still have to talk about Stanley Kubrick movies.
Yeah, we do to do that.
I need to start doing more themed videos. Like I just did that House of a Thousand Corpses video with Mark on Saturday.
I think it would be fun to do like a stream of Seventh Heaven. That
It would,
be so
but
funny.
we talked about how that would work, like because I have to control the playback. So like if you had to say something, I wouldn't be able to tell until I paused it.
That's true.
And I can't
so
when I'm doing a watch along, I'm not on the screen that I'm on right now. So like even if we were doing the watch along, when I'm watching it, if you put your hand up, I wouldn't see you.
Okay.
So we could do it, but you would just have to like keep your thoughts like until I fucking pause.
Just like write notes. Like he said what?
Yeah, and then just be like, oh hey, by the way, like 2 minutes ago they said this happened or whatever.
Because I know that Matt would be super down for that.
It would be funny.
That would be so good because they have some good episodes. So like you should never like flip somebody off, you know, like things like that.
We'd also have to find a reliable like stream. Like, is it on any streaming sites or?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure we could find it anywhere. I mean, that show is like almost 30 years old. It's everywhere.
Jessica Biel was an adult by the time the show's on, right?
She was like 13.
Okay, well,
14. Why? What are you gonna sexualize her?
Yeah, and
I mean, like if we watch a later season, then she turns 18 on the show.
In the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, she's like the best part of that movie.
So yeah, so you could, wait for an episode where she's older. Okay. I mean, in one of the episodes, she graduates high school and trashes the gym and then gets arrested. So we could talk about that.
Oh man, yeah, we gotta start doing more themes because, like I said, every time we do this, we're basically just two random people talking about nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's too bad that we couldn't get Jordan in here because he would talk about weird shit.
Well, I would have brought him on for the whole thing if I knew that we were just gonna kind of.
Okay, well, next week let's do that. Let's just bring him on, and then if you're like, "Fuck this," then we could just.
Well, I can cut anybody at any time. I really feel bad just being like, hey, by the way, I'm tired of you, so I'm gonna kick you off.
You gotta go.
I could get tired of you and kick you off like any.
Oh, thanks.
But we still gotta do the. You know what? Speaking of doing Stanley Kubrick movies, today I was trying to look up reels from like Lolita on Instagram. If you go on Instagram and you look up Stanley Kubrick Lolita, it doesn't show you anything. It pulls up this whole child sexual abuse.
Really?
Like I thought I thought Instagram called the cops on me, and then I like got rid of Stanley Kubrick and I just looked up Lolita and it literally says this is associated with child sexual abuse. You can get a hold of these resources. Like it looks like it's fucking calling the cops on you for looking up Lolita.
Really?
Look it up. I'll send you the screenshot if you want to look it up. But yeah, it's hilarious.
Interesting.
So you can't look up Lolita, and I'm like, dude, it's a movie and it's a book. Like what?
I don't know.
But
I feel like they would target that specifically to men.
I just watched a video this morning about it was some girl that she liked the movie. I've seen people try to say they hate them. Like I've seen girls on YouTube complain about the movie, which is stupid because it's like, dude, the pedophile is the bad guy. Like they act like it's praising.
Yeah,
like, bro, he's the joke of the movie. Like he's the bad guy. Like that's So I hate when people talk about it and they're like, oh yeah, this movie glorifies all that. I'm like, no, it's not. This guy's a fucking joke. Like that's the whole point of the movie is that he's a terrible person. He's a joke. He's the bad guy. He's evil. But they don't want to even look that far. But there was a girl this morning, I watched a video. I don't remember who it was, but she seemed to be cool with it. She did talk about like the behind the scenes stuff about how the actress was only 14 and she couldn't really get any other roles after that movie unless it was playing like teenage sex objects basically. And
we should do a streaming of Blue Lagoon. You still have
yeah,
to watch that.
I do need to watch it.
Oh my god, you need to watch both of them, 1 and 2. 'Cause
I
they're
need to watch
both-
it because I like don't believe.
just watch it. Like you have to watch it. Like
And it's from like the
every
90s, you
time-
said?
It's when she was a kid, so it's like 80s,
80s.
right? So like I've told multiple people to watch that movie, and I've showed people that movie, and then they're like, "What the fuck did you make me watch?"
It's like literally illegal.
Yeah, no, and I told you there's a documentary with what's her name? The main actress,
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields. There's a Brooke Shields documentary that recently came out a couple months ago. What is it on? I watched it somewhere. Maybe it was on like Hulu or not. Hulu. It's Pretty Baby on on Hulu. And she talks about the making of those early movies and how badly she was sexualized and how it should be illegal that they did that stuff, but they did it anyways. But yeah, no, it's like it's nuts that she, the whole movie is her and this other boy at like 12 fucking naked. It's wild. Just like her boobs out, everything.
I wish somebody would sexualize me. All these girls complaining about being sexualized, and I'm over here like, wait.
Actually, that's the movie you should watch tonight. You should definitely, Blue Lagoon, 1980, and then there's Return to the Blue Lagoon, 1991, which is about Brooke Shields and her brother in the movie, they have sex and have a baby, and then 10 or 11 years later, it's the same story where the baby has grown up, and then her and her brother return to the Blue Lagoon, and then it's the same story.
It's terrible.
It's just like all incestual. Everybody's naked, everybody's underage. It's like so weird. But it's a great movie. So let's see. Yeah, it says it's on Amazon Prime, YouTube. I'm sure you could find it for free somewhere.
Yeah, I could find it. I'd have to watch it. I only watch movies on weekends.
Okay.
And realistically, it's going to take me a long time to watch this. It takes me a long time to watch movies once they're on my list.
Okay.
I'm still going through this Claudia Jennings phase right now. I just ordered the Single Girl. That's what it was, and I'm getting it on like Thursday. I want to watch that this weekend.
Do you watch them on DVD?
That's my favorite. If I can get the Blu-ray or the DVD.
Okay.
I just watched a movie. I've had Amazon Prime for like a year, and I've never used it for movies. And I learned last weekend that the Great Texas Dynamite Chase was on Amazon.
Okay. Isn't your birthday coming up?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, not at
No,
all.
I remember. I write these things down.
My mom was like, "What do you want for your?" I really think I'm gonna have my mom get me a $70 DVD of Faster Pussycat Kill Kill on eBay, but I'm not sure yet. But
Yeah.
I'll probably just get that. But
Yeah. No, that'd be
Yeah.
good.
I'm not
All right. Yeah.
not gonna end up doing anything. But yeah, we gotta talk about movies.
Okay. Well, next week, let's try to gather up the other weirdos. We'll go from there. And then, we'll just talk about current events and see how that goes.
Yeah, I gotta write down.
All right.
stuff.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm so tired. All right. I'm going to go. I'll see you later. This
Right
is mildly entertaining.
Right.
All right. Bye.